Hey everybody, it's Kunu again, giving you some 5 useful tips this week. Listen, a lot of things are going on around the state, around the country. You know, infection rates are getting a little bit worse. Before we do any tips, just want to encourage you, make sure that you have access to gloves, hand sanitizer, any materials that you might need. Check with your office. We are stocking up our local offices the best that we can, and it's certainly something close by to you that as far as taking care of your client, keeping you safe, keeping them safe, we want to make sure that you have the resources you need. So the first thing I want to cover today is around that topic of doing regular business with Senior Solutions Home Care. So let's talk about regular business hours. Regular business hours through the company are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:15 or so p.m. Now, you and I both know we are a 24/7 business. We're available all the time, but it's also unrealistic to expect things like our payroll department, our finance department, HR department to be just around the clock all the time. I wish that was possible. It's not. So regular business hours are things when you can conduct items with the office, with payroll, with HR, other departments that might need to look at that. Now, for your convenience and also for our clients, because we're 24/7, we make ourselves available 24 hours a day, so we do have after hours. When you're calling the after hours team, those are not individuals that have access to all the systems. They do have access to the scheduling system, and that's really what they're meant to be there for, is emergency situations around scheduling. So if you need to change your schedule, try to do that during the day when you can deal with your service supervisor. Just realize that after hours, those individuals are treating everything like an emergency, and when you call off last minute because of a valid emergency, they want to be able to be responsive and make sure that we don't have a drop in care for our client. So just keep in mind, there's regular business hours and there's after hours. You need to try to do regular business with the company during regular business hours. So talking about doing business with the company, another way is payroll. We know a lot of things are important to you. Most important is your paycheck, which we completely understand. Your timesheet is meant to be the ultimate document that protects us from everything from fraud and abuse investigations. The state requires it for ensuring that we have documentation about the care that you provided, all of those things. The timesheets, when they are late, what it does is it makes us have to try to scramble and also know that our files are incomplete. We're obviously doing double work to try to get in touch with you to get those. So it's imperative that you have those timesheets in on time, and on time is by noon on Mondays. Listen, some of you have been here for so long, you're starting to ignore and kind of think past some of those deadlines. I realize we've been working with you here and there, like by the end of the day, Monday, we're doing reminder phone calls to you. Just know we're doing those things out of courtesy. We really don't need to be. The volume of people forgetting is getting to be way too high, so make sure you get them in. Now, I want to extend one thing. So the next thing is around electronic visit verification. I just told you all the things about timesheets and how important they are. So here's a little bit of an inside track for you. If you do electronic visit verification correctly, we don't care about your timesheet. And that's why that's there. Think about EVV compliance like an electronic timesheet. So when you're clocking in and out correctly, when you're using the ClearCare Go app or the MCO's clock in and clock out procedures, whether it's the app or the tablet in the home, any of those things are replacing the timesheet. There's really no reason for you to worry about the timesheet or worry about turning it in on time if you've done electronic visit verification accurately. We are calling all caregivers who don't do the electronic visit verification accurately on a daily basis. So when you're getting phone calls from us or voicemails, we're trying to work with you to figure out what the technology issue is in the home that you're not able to do the most fast and efficient thing for you. So please remember EVV compliance. We'll have some links to some apps and things that you can download to make sure that you have more details on that. So let's talk about something a little bit less regimented and more about getting you more pay. So as many of you know, a couple months ago, we launched our caregiver training path, and we talk about this pretty much every week, but I do want to congratulate all of those that have gotten to level 4. What we're still finding is there's plenty of you that haven't done any training. So maybe there's some caregivers that are relatively new. Maybe some of you need an extra word of encouragement. one thing that you should know is that the level of training is the fastest thing you can do to increase your wage. More importantly, it's the quality of care that you're providing. Listen, the more you know, the better caregiver that you are. Even though it seems like it would be a pain, we're making all the resources available to you. Every one of our offices has internet, has Chromebooks that you can come in and use. You just got to carve out some time and go do that. Some of you are eligible to have that as paid training time if you're early enough in your employment cycle. For others of you, you missed that boat for paid training because we did that during a really segmented period of time. But you can still increase your paycheck, your next paycheck, simply by doing that. The levels are levels 1 through 4, and all of those are basically the amount of training that you do. Be careful when you get into Relias. Just don't go do random courses. There is a very set order that you need to do them in order to complete each level. And the last piece is after the level 4, we've had some great interest this past week. Thank you to all of those that have been reaching out, those of you on the Facebook community that have been writing messages and expressing your interest. I want to explain a few things with level 5. It's basically beyond level 4. Level 5 is guaranteed pay. It's formerly something we used to call float positions. The new position is titled lead caregiver. It is a very, very limited number of people that can get that position. Lead caregivers, there will likely be 1 or 2 for each of the offices, and the lead caregivers are guaranteed $500 a week in pay. On top of that is guaranteed up to 50 hours of work. So it is possible, for example, that you only worked 35 hours because that's all the hours that we had. You would still get the $500. What we know is not only during these times, but really all the time in home care, the most important thing for you is a consistent paycheck because, your life depends on it, right? Putting food on the table, your rent, your bills, and so on and so forth. We want to be your primary job. We want to be the position that pays you well. Honestly, if it were up to me, you should get $5,000 a week. Caregivers do some of the most difficult and important work that's out there. But this is what works with the company within the economics. I can tell you we're the only company in the nation that's doing things like this, and we really hope that some of you will seize that opportunity. Here's the requirements. You have to be willing to travel in a 25-mile radius, right? So wherever you live right now, you'd have to be willing to travel at least 25 miles for any cases that we would have available. Be available every other weekend. Make sure that you have a smartphone so you can use all the EVV items and things that we talked about. And you have a pretty wide availability. There's more details. We'll put some links and things about the actual position so you can hear about it. We're hand selecting some caregivers where we're calling you. So if you're getting phone calls from us, please call us back. It's good news. We're not fussing at you. The last thing that I'll tell you about the level 5 is it is a position that will have tons of accountability. I think I mentioned this last week, but it is a position that is a point of privilege, which means we want to guarantee you work, but we also in return want to be guaranteed accountability and professionalism. So it's a little bit of a back and forth with both of us. It's a commitment. We want to give you a career path, and we also want to make sure that our clients get the best of care. So I know that's a lot of things this week. Sorry for the long message. Once again, lots of links and things in the description below. Really looking forward to hearing from many more of you. There's certainly express your interest in anything. If you want more education, you want to go from being a level 0 to a level 3, it's still important. We'd love to see you progress with the organization over time. Everybody have a great week. Please be safe. Make sure if you need equipment or any items, check in with your service supervisor during regular business hours, Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:15. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.